Peace, everybody. It's True and Living, and welcome to Mind of a Sage. Definitely happy to be here today. This is our second one, so I appreciate that. Got some good feedback on the first one and some of the things we've been doing, so that's really cool. Anybody new, I appreciate you guys tuning in as well. Hit that like and that subscribe, man. Let's help build this channel. You know, we celebrating elevation, we celebrating differences, and we celebrating synergy, you know. We want to find value in all of those things, you know. That's like the base of this platform, you know, definitely. So, what brings us here today? Well, today, we tapping into changing our friends, changing our circle in order to change our life. Now, why this topic came up, most of the topics that I bring up is based off life things happening. So there may be a situation that presented itself via phone call or in person where a specific topic was discussed and the outcome came about a certain kind of way, and I feel like I want to present it. So in this case, change your friends, change your circle, right? Now, anybody that is, you know, born in the 70s, 80s, you know, you heard the saying that you are the company you keep, right? Birds of a feather flock together, right? So most times that's true. It's not always, you know, especially not in instances, right? Because I know certain women now that kind of got some friends that's a little loose, right? But they not loose. You know, they go out with them, but they don't behave like them, essentially, you know what I'm saying? I've seen it with my own eyes, you know, but they're not around them each and every day either, but still, you know. So, what are we talking about here? We're talking about if everybody that's watching this right now, just take a second and think about the people you're around the most at this moment in time, right? Whoever it is, right? Who am I spending the most time with? Who am I, like, and that's not necessarily one person, you know, a group, whatever the case, right? Who am I talking to most, right? Who am I listening to? Who's absorbing my energy, right? Because if I listen to somebody, right, I'm giving them my energy. If I'm talking to them, I'm giving them my energy. If I'm around them, I'm giving them my energy, right? So, you know, I'm thinking about all these things, right? So now after we process that, right, the people we're hanging around, is this a great influence? Is it a negative influence, right? Is it stagnation, right? Are these people or this person motivated, right? Are these people getting things done? What are they getting done, right? Why? So why is all these things important? Because these people are in your life. And when people are in your life, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you even know it or not, everything that's going on with them essentially affects you, period. Because they're in your life, or you're in their life, right? So very important that we be mindful and know the people we're around. So the people we hang around become our greatest influences that way. Now, for those of you who say, well, I don't hang around people like that, right? I just hang around my family, you know, and that's it. My boyfriend, my husband, my wife, whoever. Cool. So the thing about that is, your next greatest influence becomes the things that you watch and the things that you listen to, right? So whatever you're watching on the TV, whatever you watch on your tablet or on the phone, right? And the same thing about listening, right? These things become your friends, essentially. These become your influences. So whether that's this show, that show, you know, this movie, this type, whatever you're watching all the time, these people become influences. And you say, well, nah, that's not the case. How you gonna, that is the case, because of repetition. It's a repeated message. It's a repeated rhythm. It's a repeated vibration in your head, in your psyche, in your mindset, right? So now the TV, the scrolling, whatever you're looking at on the gram or on the Facebook, whatever you're watching, all these things, man, it becomes your friends. So very, very important. Now, next thing we want to look at is how are most of the friendships formed. So most friendships are formed through environment, right? People kind of grow up together, they be in a similar situation together, right? It's your friend because of this, friend because of that. Shared vices. You guys are into the same kind of drugs, or same whatever it is like that, So that's always a relationship builder. And trauma bonding, definitely. And what's unique about trauma bonding is it's a form. So the genesis and the base of trauma bonding is lack and need, right? So what happens is a person presents a situation or a circumstance or whatever of need, right? And whoever's hearing it, they either have that same circumstance or they're going to try to fix that circumstance. And thus the trauma bonding begins. And this is broad. This is how people get fooled. So I'll give you a good example. If I come to you and I say, listen, or I don't even have to say it to you. I could just, I just meet you, wherever the case, and or I don't meet you. I know you. It doesn't matter. Either I tell you or you find out I don't have no place to stay, or you get the impression that I don't have no place to stay, or I don't want to be, like that. And I decide to fix it for that person, or that person decides to fix that for me, being like, well, hey, you can come stay here. This is a trauma. This is the beginning of trauma bonding. It just is, We ask for food. You may need some food or whatever the case, Say, hey, we got food you can eat. You need somewhere to stay. I got some place for you to be, You need some clothes. You ain't got no clothes. I got some clothes, right? Whatever you need, right? So that's like, wow, this person is there for me. And that may all be true, but it's definitely trauma bonding. And so now, whoever is in that situation of need, they coming in on a weak position, right? That's not a position of power. And then the person that's providing it, you have to be careful, because a lot of times when we do things, it's not out of the pureness and the goodness. Sometimes it's out of necessity. Sometimes it's out of different reasons, especially if somebody is, it all depends. I done been in situations around people, man, when they needed stuff. Like I've been around people that needed some place to stay, like needed food, you know what I mean? Niggas was definitely moving crazy. So gotta be mindful of that. Now, so what we don't want to do in these situations is you don't want to create relationships and based off of these kind of things. When you start to create your relationships, you want to create them off shared visions, shared goals, and then moving in alignment that kind of way, where you start to create allies, essentially. What happens for us is the convenience and sometimes like the appeal of certain type of people, man, it just really pulls us in the wrong direction, and that, just will bring you down, because you never know when or you never know what. So life is so short in regards to moments, right? It's not short. Like you get a chance to do what you do, but those moments be short. So you have to seize every moment that you can, man. And that's just that. So why would we essentially think this way is because as a people, we've been trained and taught to look outward, right? So I need help, right? So once you get that type of vibration, then, and people do need help, don't get me wrong, but the help you need is a lot of it you can provide for yourself. You can alleviate a lot of these things yourself. But we've been trained to look for somebody else to do it, right? So for someone else to kind of fix this problem, for somebody else to bail me out, for somebody else to kind of, I just need a little help to get going, right? All sounds reasonable, but it's all from a situation of lack. And why is that important? Because abundance doesn't associate with lack, period. So there's no chance to really kind of get close to or close enough to abundance where you can like grab it and hold on to it. It'll be fleeting. You just get a little taste of it and it's gone, man. Let me tell you something about abundance. It don't care if you're a good person or not at all. This is why some of the worst people in regards to character had a gang of money though. Like, had a gang of money. Like, God damn, this was a bad dude or a bad woman, not cool. Because abundance don't care about that kind of shit. Abundance is all about abundance. And it's attracted to abundance. It's attracted to an abundant mindset and abundant vibration. So you can't have all that lack. That's why you can't center everything around, pity and sympathy and trying to, manipulate people emotionally like that. Because you may get a temporary victory, but you're pushing yourself further and further away from the abundance. And that's really should be the ultimate goal. So getting back on topic though. So what's the process of creating that good circle? We already tapped into that because we're looking to like a line. We're talking about that. And now you got to audit the people that's around you. Literally. You have to assess them. You have to see if this person or these people or this environment is promoting strength in me. Is it encouraging me to be better than I am today? Is it pushing me in a certain direction? Is it allowing me to be free and abundant, right? Because these things play the biggest role in getting there. This is how you really start to see who's really there for you. Because most times people don't mind you doing well as long as they can get a little bit of it, too. Now, what people usually don't want to hear about is you doing well and that's just it. You see? So this is why you got to have people around you that's building you up, because obviously they want you to be in that certain space, in that certain kind of light. So having strong people around you that's building you up and giving you encouragement and pushing you in the right direction is what we need most. We don't need people who are not pushing us that way or not encouraging, even if they're not saying it in a negative way. You're just not encouraging me. I'm not like being around you makes me want to do less. You gotta think about it. Like being around you makes me want to do less. Being around you makes me think about lack. Right? Being around you makes me think about what I don't have. These are all real questions and real things. The people we're around, a lot of times determine that stuff. When you're feeling it like that, that's why you gotta separate, man. You don't want no explanation. You start to feel like a situation or a person's bringing you down, or you're not getting the right kind of energy as far as what you need to get to whatever stage you want to get in life, you can separate and you don't got to explain nothing. That's it. Right? So that's that. Now, I'm going to wrap this up because I told you I wouldn't be long-winded like last time. So remember these things. Sacrifice comfort for strength, right? Meaning, don't break your discipline for comfort. Whatever it is, whatever principles that you set up to establish how you want to build friendships and how you want to build relationships, don't sacrifice that for comfort. Don't sacrifice it because somebody got something good that you like. Don't sacrifice it because somebody's presenting something you want. If you got these, make your principles about who it is you want to be around. First, you got to make sure you establish everything yourself so you can attract that shit. Be honest, because if you want to be into things that's duplicitous or negative, then fine. But don't bullshit yourself. because you need to attract those type of people so you can make the type of moves you want. You don't need to be acting a certain way, and now you're getting people that can't even help you pull off the scam because they're not even, street savvy enough. So you need to be around not fucked up people, but you need to be around people that's thinking criminally. Criminals need to be around criminals. That's for sure. At least as far as the plot and the scam goes. You can't bring squares into. Anyway, another one is choose to. Sorry, I had wrote this part down so y'all don't forget this. Remember, I'm gonna tap in. Remember this. This is why it's important that we establish who we want to be, whether we got to write it down and we base it off our principles, because we don't usually rise to our goals. Usually we fall to our rituals, right? So whatever it is that we do the most is what we usually end up doing. Even if you set a goal, if shit gets real, what happens? We fall to our rituals, right? So be mindful of that. Napoleon Hill said that instead of raising our top, he said, lift your bottom, because by raising your bottom, you create a higher standard of existence for yourself. Very interesting point, right? Lift your bottom. So don't think so much about raising the roof off of the place. Raise that floor so that your bottom ain't that far. See what I'm saying? Most of us have a low floor, so, the fall be, boom, you go crashing down. You know what I'm saying? Because the floor is so low. And he also said, he being Napoleon Hill, this is one of my mentors, Napoleon said that he said each person's measured by their lowest standard of existence, right? So the lowest situation you would accept, as far as living, eating, whatever, the lowest you would accept. This kind of defines you, as a person. I thought that was a monumental statement, you know what I mean? Considering how we associate like a toughness almost, being able to survive certain type of situations. And but I see the logic in that, but also I see Napoleon's point, because it's like, well, I'm not saying that I can't survive it. I'm saying that if I get a choice, I'm not choosing it. You see? So yeah, I can live in this type of situation. I can exist, right? Lights is out, cold water, or lights is on, whatever the situation, whatever it is, right? Shit just don't look good, right? I could live there, but I'm not going to choose to live there, right? Not if I can be somewhere else. And I think that's the main thing to really be mindful of when we, thinking about that point right there, like I'm not going to choose that shit. So even though I can exist in that space, I'm just not going to choose that. If I got someplace else to be, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to put myself, and that's just me. So anyway, to wrap it up, man, let's touch back on all the points. So change your friends, change your circle, right? People you hang around, super important. The things you listen to, the things you're watching on TV, be mindful. These things become your friends, especially if you don't have a lot of friends that you're hanging around and talking to. The TV shows, the Facebooks, the Instagrams, all that shit becomes your friends, Chat GPT, which was probably a better friend than fucking Facebook, but, you just can't get too, we can't get too reliant on technology. Even though we're in the technological phase, most probably that we've ever been in mankind's history that we know of, right? Still just can't get too caught up in it, because why? It's creating a sense of dependency. Anything that you start to become dependent on is putting you in a situation of lack. It don't matter what you're getting from it, that you may present yourself as positive. You cannot have, let me tell you how I noticed, and I'm gonna wrap it up with this. So, when my mother died, the last maybe 3 or 4 years of her life, she was my everything. right? I ingratiated her so deeply into everything that had to do with me. She was my very, very best friend, to the point where I needed to speak with her before I made any moves. You understand? Like, I needed to tap in with my mom, which was really my grandma who raised me. That's my mom. I call her that for a reason, because she raised me for the majority of my life. So, but nigga, when she died, I didn't even talk for about 10 days. I mean, I couldn't even talk really to my kids, and that was just really to feed them. Like, it took me forever to cash her insurance check and all of that. Like, I was derailed when she died, and really never recovered emotionally, because it put me in a situation where I didn't trust, because she was the only one that I could trust completely that way. You know, you gotta remember, you know how people talk about unconditional love, but that's very, very, very few far in between, because for the most part, love is very much conditional when it comes to people. They tell you all the time, you know? That's how you know it's like talking out of both sides of their mouth. You just gotta listen to people, you know? And that's another thing. Remember to be silent, man. I'll tell you about that in another episode. But yeah, unconditional love, my ass. Most love is conditional. And people are telling you that it's conditional. When you listen to them, they're telling you, if you do this, this is going to happen. I'm out. You do this. You know, they're telling you. These is conditions. These is conditions of their love, essentially. Right? And now, the thing about it, what makes it not unconditional, is just rope. Some people get more rope than the others, right? So it's not that it's unconditional. It's just you have more rope, you know? But it's definitely conditional for the most part. So thanks for everybody for sticking with me on this one, man. I appreciate it. I know we got a little off topic at the end, but remember, change your friends, change your circle, audit your friends, audit your relationships, audit yourself. Make sure you're getting the best version of yourself every day. Make sure the people around you are promoting the best version of you every day. Make sure that you're not putting yourself in a situation of need and lack, especially to get a temporary victory. All right? Thanks for watching, everybody. Mindset of a Sage. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please definitely comment. I appreciate everybody that stayed with me. Peace.